At first glance, this road looks like any other southern Arizona highway. But in reality, it's one of the corridors the smugglers use to illegally traffic assault and sniper rifles, firearm magazines, among other weapons into Mexico daily. It's been reported gun smugglers often recruit U.S. citizens. According to the Federal Public Defender's Institute, between June 2021 and May 2022, half of foreign people committing federal crimes in Mexico were from the U.S. Majority of those crimes were against the federal law on firearms and explosives. El tráfico de armas, gun trafficking, it's a big American business that's leading to a vicious cycle, helping fuel some of the most violent transnational criminal organizations in Mexico and the rest of Latin America.
80% of the crimes committed in Mexico, being homicides or other types of crimes, are related to guns. Guns that came from the US.
Rafael Barcelo Durazo, the Consul General of Mexico in Tucson, says gun trafficking into Mexico is a security threat that affects all of us.
The American public, the US society, will be very helpful in also demanding responsibility for the people that are trading illegally with these guns, or that those stores that might know they are actually selling their guns to a straw purchaser who is going to Mexico and not doing nothing about it.
México presentó el día de hoy en Arizona, Estados Unidos, una demanda que vendría a ser la segunda respecto a armas.
Marcelo Ebrard, Mexico's Foreign Affairs Secretary, announced in October Mexico's most recent lawsuit, which highlights Arizona as the hotbed of unlawful gun trafficking into Mexico. The 130-page lawsuit claims that 5 gun stores located in Phoenix, Tucson, and Yuma knew or should have known that were selling military-style guns and ammunition to gun traffickers. Mexico presented about 100 criminal indictments of alleged buyers with gun trafficking records and their purchasing history. Court documents show one person allegedly bought weapons 10 times at the same Arizona dealer over 3 months.
It is very important for every government and every part of the society to fight against violence, and having a rational restriction on how you buy weapons, particularly if you know those might be taken for illegal trafficking.
Unlike in the United States, there's only one gun store in Mexico, which is located at an army base in Mexico City and managed by the military.
In order for you to have a permit or to buy a gun, you will need to conduct a very thorough process in background checks. The kind of guns you will get will be certain type, particularly for hunting or other sports, but never an assault or a military style.
Gun laws are so strict in Mexico that the moment you cross the border with a gun or even a bullet,
you are committing automatically a felony, and you will be in a mandatory detention because of that. So while the trial is being conducted, you will be detained.
I forgot to take my gun out of the vehicle.
Ira Vivers was traveling with his family to Puerto Peñasco, Mexico, when his gun was found during a customs search in Sonoita, Sonora, Mexico.
Honest mistake, and they make an honest mistake cost so much.
He spent 7 months at a Mexican prison on gun trafficking charges, unable to support his wife and children.
They gave me 2 charges because I had 2 clips. So they gave me 1 charge for the gun in the clip, and then I got a 2nd charge for the additional clip.
While in prison, he learned many other Americans shared the same story.
I was in there with a guy. He borrowed his son's vehicle to go to Mexico to get some supplies for his restaurant. He didn't want to drive his truck because of the fuel. His son forgot his gun in the car. There's a couple guys that I was in there with where they got arrested and their wives got arrested. And one guy, his wife had the baby in prison.
We reached out to the U.S. consulate asking about the number of Americans arrested in Mexico for gun possession at the Arizona-Mexico border, or the number of those currently detained at the federal prison in Hermosillo for gun charges. They said in part that they were unable to provide exact numbers. However, records show up to May 2022, U.S. citizens were the highest population among foreign prisoners in Mexico. Ira did gain his freedom back. However,
a week before I got out, my mom passed away. So that really hurt. Because my mom was my everything.
he's among the growing number of Americans from all walks of life detained with guns at ports of entry in Mexico.
We have an increase of people that have been detained because they seize an arm that was with them, but also because for Mexicans, the control of guns is even more relevant each year.
Teachers, doctors, former priests, truck drivers, everyday good people, that because they forgot they had a weapon in their vehicle.
Tony Harrison's son, Drew Harrison, has been incarcerated at a federal prison in Hermosillo, Sonora for almost 9 months now. He was detained and taken into custody at the checkpoint at the border in Sonoita, Sonora, after officials found 2 guns in his vehicle. The family was on their way to Puerto Peñasco, Sonora.
He was like, what's going on? I'm not trying to hide them, these are mine, but what's the problem?
Drew, a father of 3 boys, a financial advisor who graduated from the University of Arizona with no previous criminal record, received a 7-year sentence before trial.
That's crazy, 7 years. I mean, like, we almost lost it right then and there.
His lawyer says a judge ordered la prisión preventiva oficiosa for him, which means pre-trial detention. According to Article 19 of Mexico's Constitution, pre-trial detention is given to serious offenses such as rape, organized crime, kidnapping, crimes related to firearms and explosives, among others. The Harrison's lawyer is fighting to get Drew's sentence reduced to less than 4 years, so he can qualify for a release on probation. But just like Ira's case,
our family is still living a nightmare, and we're just hoping it's over soon.
We sympathize with the people that get into those troubles without knowing what they were happening, without a bad intent. We will ask for understanding from the U.S. side why Mexico has gone with these strict regulations.
Mexico, what they're doing is try to protect their citizens from guns is great, but on the same deal, I mean, don't penalize people that just simply forgot that they had a gun coming into your country.
About 1 million people cross into Mexico through the Lukeville-Sonoita port of entry every year, mainly Arizonans traveling to the beaches of Puerto Peñasco. Just steps away from this port of entry is where Ira and Drew got arrested.
They feel like victims, but by the same token, they'll say, well, all we wanted to do was protect our family while we were at the beach. My advice is, if you're gonna feel uncomfortable in Mexico without a weapon, then stay home.
Peter Bachelier is a director at the port of entry in Lukeville, Arizona. He says outbound searches at this port of entry are now taking place daily.
As our technology comes in, especially the X-ray systems, non-intrusive inspection systems, outbound is going to become a regular process.
He says they also give the traveler an opportunity to declare a weapon before crossing border lines.
If the weapons are found afterwards, after we've given them the opportunity to declare, then CBP will have to seize the weapons.
If you decide not to declare and make it past the U.S. port of entry, you will be in the hands of the military at Mexico's checkpoint.
For people trying to conceal the weapons into Mexico, I would suggest think twice.
Because once an officer finds a weapon,
he or she is in an obligation to report you to the Attorney General office. Once that happens, the process cannot be stopped.
On the other hand, CBP says they're trying to do what they can to prevent arrests of everyday Americans by adding more signs like this one. Officials say there are other signs on the road. However, we only noticed 2, and one was blocked.
There's a lot of signs on the side of the road, that have to do with Oregon Pied Cactus National Monument, your speed.
Bob Bushell is a former Border Patrol Special Operations Supervisor.
Those signs that warn you about, firearms or ammunition going into Mexico, they look just like a traffic sign.
And everybody's like, oh, you didn't see the sign saying no guns? Like, no, I didn't see the sign because I wasn't looking for the sign.
I think it might be a combination of, let's get some bigger signage out there, but let's change it up. So they catch your attention more. Nobody's special. You're not going to talk your way out of it. You're going to get arrested and you're going to spend a lot of time in jail.
As Americans, we're so used to carrying our guns all the time because we're allowed to, you don't think about it.
For others, the answer may be information about resources.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Bernadette Ness is the manager at the Why Not travel store in Y, Arizona, located just a few miles from the Lukeville port of entry, the only store offering gun storage to people in this border area.
We're small family business owned and we're here to help as best as we can and just remind people like, hey, we offer more than just, a bag of chips and gas.
She says they've been offering gun storage for 20 years now, but not a lot of people are aware of their services.
When we empty our trash cans, sometimes we'll find bullets in our trash bins and we'll find magazine clips behind our store. It's only $4 a day. It's better than spending over $30,000 in legal fees.
Ira wishes he knew about this gun storage, that he checked his car before it was too late, that Mexico had a better process to identify a regular citizen from a gun smuggler, that he had the right to fight his case in trial like in the US, that his family didn't suffer the way they did, but most importantly, that he could see his mother again.